Good morning, dear hearts. We are on lesson 182. New lessons, please subscribe. I know that this particular lesson is a favorite for many of you because over the years I've been doing this. It's been mentioned in the comments of that this lesson is for me. This is a favorite lesson. And the lesson is, I will be still an instant and go home. And this is not the first time we've been told that indeed many of us do not believe or do not feel that this is our home. This is a recurring theme in many ways. When we first had this inkling of being a stranger here, an alien here, in lesson 49, way back, first 50, that God's voice speaks to me all through the day. And in that lesson, we were told that sink deep into the peace that waits for you beyond the frantic, riotous thoughts and sights and sounds of this insane world. You do not live here. We are trying to reach your real home. We are trying to reach the place where you are truly welcome. We are trying to reach God. And we do not belong here, and we feel we do not belong here because this is not where we feel God's presence in our life. We have to come home and remove ourselves from the sights, the sounds, the raucous noises of this world. This world you seem to live in is not home to you. And somewhere in your mind, you know that this is true. A memory of home keeps haunting you as if there were a place that called you to return. Although you do not recognize the voice, nor what it is the voice reminds you of, yet still you feel an alien here from somewhere all unknown. Nothing so definite that you could say with certainty that you're an exile here. Just a persistent feeling, sometimes not more than a tiny throb, at other times hardly remembered, actively dismissed, but surely to return to mind again. No one but knows whereof we speak, which is very Shakespearean to say. We all understand this. When my mother was passing, shortly before that, she was sitting there and saying, I want to go home. I want to go home. Well, she was in her house, but I knew, and I wasn't even on this spiritual path as of that time, but I knew where she was speaking of. She was speaking of heaven. She was totally knowing that where she was in this world was not her home. So no one but knows whereof we speak who is here. Yet some try to put their suffering in games they play to occupy their time and keep their sadness from them. This paragraph is telling all the different ways we try to ignore and overcome this true throbbing, this longing to be home. Others will deny that they are sad and do not recognize their tears at all. Still others will maintain that what we speak of is illusion, not to be considered more than but a dream. Yet who in simple honesty, without defensiveness and self-deception, would deny that he understands the words we speak. We speak today for everyone who walks this world, for he is not at home. She is not at home, as my mother knew, certainly by the time she was ready to transition. He goes uncertainly about an endless search, seeking in darkness what he cannot find, not recognizing what it is he seeks. 1,000 homes he makes, yet none contents his restless mind. We can move from place to place to place, yet none of those new places will really satisfy us and really feel like home. There is no substitute for heaven. All we ever have made here was hell. Perhaps you think it is your childhood home that you would find again, the childhood of your body. It is and its place of shelter, and a memory now so distorted that you merely hold a picture of a past that never happened. If you ever go back to that childhood home, it is not at all as you remember it. It is completely different. That's perhaps why we're told you can't go home again. It will not live up to your expectation or your remembering of it. But there is a child with a capital C, an eternal child in you who seeks his Father's house and knows that he is an alien here. This childhood is eternal because the child is eternal, with an innocence that will endure forever. Where this child shall go is holy ground. It is his holiness that lights up heaven. That child is the light of the world, and that brings to earth the pure reflection of the light above, wherein are earth and heaven joined as one. I say it very many times, as above, so below. That is where we go today. That is the light that we bring with us, the eternal child that is within us. That child brings this light to light up earth so that it may be indeed that reflection of heaven, and all will be joined. The Course tells us heaven is here. There is no other place, and heaven is now. There's no other time. Remember, now, where we are to be spending our time now, not in the past, not in the future. It is this child in you your Father knows as his own. It is this child who knows his Father. He desires to go home so deeply, so unceasingly. His voice cries unto you to let him rest a while. He does not ask for more than just a few instants of respite, just an interval in which he can return to breathe again the holy air that fills his Father's house. You are his home as well. He will return, but give him just a little time to be himself within the peace that is his home, resting in silence and in peace and love. Meditate. It doesn't say meditate, but meditate. When we get quiet, we give the child in us time to be in silence, to rest, to be in love, to be in peace. Give me a minute to go home, for me to be safe, for me to be still, for me to remember my true home, for me to reconnect with my Father and all of my brothers. Give me a minute to rest and to breathe and heal and have the comfort of the inner child come to me. This child needs our protection, our recognition. He's far from home. He is so little that he seems so easily shut out, his tiny voice so readily obscured, his call for help almost unheard amid the grating sounds and harsh and rasping voices and noises of this world. Yet does he know that in you still abides his sure protection. This child knows that we indeed are his brother, his sibling, and will be here to protect and help him. He will go home and we will go along with him. This child is your defenselessness. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. When I realize that there is nothing I need to defend against. This child is your strength. He trusts in you. He came because he knew you would not fail. He whispers of his home unceasingly to you, for he would not bring you back, for he would bring you back with him, that he himself might stay and not return again where he does not belong and where he lives an outcast in a world of alien thoughts. This child wants to go home, as every child wants to go home. His patience has no limits. He will wait until you hear his gentle voice within you, calling you to let him go in peace along with you, where he is at home and you with him. We will be still an instant and go home when the world recedes from you, when valueless ideas cease to have any value in your restless mind. Then you will hear his voice. And as this happens, as we go home, we will enfold this child within our heart and stay there until we go home together, and then we all will be enfolded into the heart of our Father. So poignantly, he calls to you that you will not resist him longer. In that instant, he will take you to his home, and you will stay with him in perfect stillness and silent and at peace, beyond all words, untouched by fear and doubt, sublimely certain that you are at home. Now, to go for the quick moment to the introduction to these lessons, it says, and so we start our journey beyond words by concentrating first on what impedes your progress still. We want to come into the experience not the words themselves. Rest with this child frequently today, for he was willing to become a little child that you might learn of him how strong he is, who comes without defenses, knowing that there is nothing he needs to defend against, only loves messages to those who think he is their enemy. He holds, so when someone reaches to attack, the child responds with love, because that is the only true response for us to ever make. He holds the might of heaven in his hand and calls them friend, and gives his strength to them that they may see he would be friend with a capital F, eternal friend, brother, companion, teacher. He asks that they protect him, for his home is far away and he will not return to it alone. We never get to heaven alone. I've said so many times, we will go hand in hand with each other. Christ is reborn, but as a little child, each time a wanderer would leave his home, for he must learn that what he would protect is but this child who comes defenseless and who is protected by defenselessness. Go home with him from time to time today. You are as much an alien here as he. We are an alien here. This is not where we belong, and part of us truly does know that. Take time today to lay aside your shield, which profits nothing, and lay down the spear and sword you raised against an enemy. Release all your judgments. They do not exist. We do not need them. We're judging against an enemy that does not truly exist, one we have made up in our mind and now have made a thought system that is supporting that false thought. Christ has called you friend and brother. He has even come to ask your help in letting him go today. Go home today, completed and completely. He has come as does a little child who must beseech his father for protection and for love. He rules the universe, and yet he asks unceasingly that you return with him and take illusions as your gods no more. Let go of all of our illusions. They serve us not. So you have not lost your innocence. It is this for this you yearn. This is your heart's desire, and we will be entering into the heart of God ever so quickly now. This is the voice you hear. This is the call which cannot be denied. The Holy Child remains with you. His home is yours. Today he gives you his defenselessness, and you accept it in exchange for all the toys of battle that you have made. We are exchanging all sharp objects today and replacing them with love. We are placing them with the extension of our heart. We are replacing them with hugs. We are replacing them with laughter. We are replacing them with joy. We are replacing them with peace. We are replacing them with what is real and what is true. Sharp objects, weapons, swords, illusions, none of them are true. And now the way is open and the journey has an end in sight at last. Be still an instant and go home with him and be at peace a while. Let us be at peace and remember that that small child, that's you. That is all of us. And we are ready. We are ready to go home. We are ready to claim ourself. We are ready to be one with each other and with our Father and with all of the sonship. And that's it for today. And I hope it helped. It's a beautiful lesson. I have read most of it, but it would be probably very beautiful and comforting if you go and read it yourself. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please comment, please smile for the journey home. And breathe it in, release everything else, and please be here tomorrow. Namaste.